What's up, guys, and good morning. I've actually been a little bit sick the past couple days, and I didn't say that. I think I'm finally, no longer having fever symptoms. So it is what it is, bro. And I'm still banging out 14, 16-hour days. You have to have an emotional reason that overpowers how shitty all of this is. Nobody likes doing lead generation. Nobody wants to fucking prospect. Nobody wants to go through thousands of fucking posts and comments. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, I know, dude. I know. Nobody wants to do door-to-door sales or retail or be annoying or be obnoxious. Nobody wants to like have to generate conversations. That's the job. It is literally your job to do this, bro. That's the only way you're going to make money. Getting people to join your group from comments and threads that you generate in posts. Okay, that is literally the job. You can tell me that I'm wrong, and you can tell me you're just gonna make viral content and pull everybody in through your viral content. Okay, all right, yeah, maybe in 3 to 7 years, maybe not. You want to go fast, you want to go slow. If you want to make money now, you have to do this. There is nothing else to do. Post content every day. Post on all your social media channels. Post magnets, right? Post viral discussion starters in groups, okay? That doesn't take that long, bro. It's not going to take you like an hour to post in like every single group that you're in, even on school. It's not. You think about interesting things that you could post, try to generate a buzz, try to generate attention. They may go check out your profile, they may go check out your group. That's the first touch. That's the first response. You need about 9 or 10 responses, typically exposures. They need to see you like 10 times to honestly even think about joining your group after they, do I like his energy? Do I like what he's doing? Do I like what he's talking about? Can he get me a result? Okay. Yes, I can. I'm already coaching like so many freaking people, man. They just haven't paid me yet. They will eventually. Okay. They will eventually. They will pay you eventually. If you don't believe that, then this is pointless. You have to believe this. All your work's going to pay off. Every day is the fucking same. You wake up. I still wake up at 6 a.m. Even if I'm sick, even if I'm not feeling well. I just went to bed 2 hours earlier. I literally went to bed at 8 p.m., so I could get 10 hours of sleep. I got enough sleep. I'm fine. Yes, it is a monotonous, relentless grind to go through groups and go through every single post in those groups. Try your absolute damnedest to build an interesting conversation out of a comment, out of a post, while you're making viral posts yourself in their groups without being too solicitous. So energy speaks to me, man. Maybe it's because I'm a projector in my Mayan astrology. Maybe it's because I'm a mirror. The mirror is honestly also kind of like a projector. The mirror in Mayan astrology is able to reflect somebody's energy back to them and is able to see the enhanced image. That's why I think I'm good at coaching and why I'm useful, because I can just project or reflect your own energy back to you. Dude, once you figure out your offer, and you're never going to know until you just pick something and just get started. You're never going to know, man. Just pick something, get started. You have to get to work. You not being crystal clear is not a valid excuse to procrastinate on doing outbound comments. This is not. You just have to do it, man. The faster you can just pick something and launch it, the faster you're going to start commenting, building threads, and doing calls. Do the beta program, start coaching people for free. You know what I mean? Like, even on Reddit, there's so many people saying how burnt out they are, how miserable they are. There's so many posts in like the big groups, like schoolers, and like the groups that are for people that are just getting started on school. There's one group called your free school course or whatever. It's page 1 of business. There's so many people literally asking coaching questions. You may not be coaching people on school, but eventually you might as well, because that's what the most people need help with. So how do I ethically, tell them like, well, I can literally help you, join my group? How do you say that without saying that? you know, you just don't want to directly solicit them and say, feel free to come to my group. You don't want to actually say that, because then admins are going to feel threatened, and that's going to appear to be self-promotional. You know, everybody is self-promoting, but they're trying to do it in a tactful way to not get in trouble with the admins. So you have to appeal to the owners of their groups, and create value without directly saying, well, like, bro, this is literally what I'm doing like all day long, every day. Just come join my group. Like, this is happening now all the time. So what can you say? You can say, well, I'm happy to collab, I definitely talk about this in my group. Now that may be, you may not want to say that. I talk about that in my group. You may not want to say that. You want to say that without saying that. So what do you say? I'm happy to collab with you, man. Have you joined any mastermind groups? You know, like, I don't know. It's not that complicated. You just keep trying. You just say, well, I'm happy to brainstorm. I'm happy to collab, I'm happy to help you develop your ideas. You can say that. That's not an exact, self promo. I'm happy to help. I'm happy to collab. I'm happy to help you brainstorm. I'm happy to help you develop this idea. You know, After a while, if they're just not interested, or, like they're saying, like, yeah, I do want to grow my group, but, like this one girl in this art kind of group, like she wants to like launch her offer, but she's just also just like constantly, permanently like in limbo. And like we were DMing and we were talking, and like, I asked her like 4 or 5 times, like, come check out my group, and she just never has. And after a while, it's like, this is not the right time. And, it's kind of obnoxious to me. Like, if you say you're going to join my group and check out my thing, and then you're not, then it's like, whatever, dude. I'm not desperate for you to be a lead. I left her group because it's just off topic and it's not intentional. It's just a hobby group. You know, I gave you about 5 or 6 chances. If you're still not interested, then obviously it's just not the right time. So either I just leave the group or I stay in the group and just come back later, follow up later. But they want free energy, they want free motivation, but they're just going to keep bullshitting you. This is something you also have to learn in sales. A lot of people just want your free motivation, because when you're in sales, you're giving a lot of energy, you're giving a lot of enthusiasm. That's what you call like a bottom feeder, like just a bottom feeder. All they want to do is just get your free energy, but they don't actually want to take you seriously. They're not reciprocating your energy, they just want the free energy. At that point, you have to make a judgment call. I can keep, touching back with them, or I can come back later, or I can just say, you know what, let's just burn the lead. I don't mind burning leads. I have no problem burning leads, nor should you. This is a sales thing. This is a sales energy. This is a sales skill. I can tell after a while, like, they're just a time waster. You're not that serious. You probably will never be that serious. You want my free energy, but you're unwilling to reciprocate by joining my group or doing a collab call with me, then I don't care. We're done. Bye. Bye. That, doesn't bother me, man. This is my masculine personality in my solar plexus chakra. And, dude, move faster, move on. When one person leaves, 10 people enter, okay? I'm not saying this to be narcissistic, but if you're trying to date a girl and she's always just bullshitting you and she's never non-committal, then it's like, okay, whatever. Then you're going to see me at the club with an even hotter girl, and then you're going to get jealous, and then, too bad, missed your shot. You have to have confidence in yourself. I'm a confident guy. If one leaves, 3 enter, okay? If it doesn't work out with you, then I'll find like 2 or 3 other girls. You can say that's narcissistic, but I would say no, that's having an extremely high self-worth. I'm a charismatic guy. I'm an energetic guy. I'm a successful guy. If you don't want what I have to offer, she does, like these other girls do, so I'm not going to waste my time and my energy on someone who just, it's like a dead weight, bro. You want my free energy, but you literally have a problem in your head. Like, you can't commit to anything. You're non-committal, you know? So anyways, you don't have to burn the lead. You can do a touchback. You can put them in a spreadsheet, which is a follow-up, touchback, callback, or just burn the lead, this is not a good time, probably just not a good fit, I left her group. Then she messages me. I think it's funny when people message you after you leave their group, like after you churn their group, and they ask you like, "Why did you leave?" She didn't ask me why I left. She just said, "Sorry to see you go. Feel free to come back if you feel like it." And I'm like, you know why I left? I left because you kept acting like you were gonna join my group, and you never did, and you're just constantly bullshitting me. Do you know what I mean? No, I'm not gonna come back to your group because you're disrespecting me by you leading me on and bullshitting me and telling me you're going to do something for me and you never do it. It's a sign of disrespect. You should feel disrespected. You should have self-worth. You should have self-value. My son is in the fifth house, which is ruled by Leo, exalted by Leo. Leos have a self-worth and a self-respect. If you're going to disrespect me indirectly, passively, you're not consciously disrespecting me, you're subconsciously disrespecting me. You're not reciprocating the energy and the value that I'm giving to you. You told me that you want to grow your coaching business. You said that you want to get focused, right? I said multiple times, all right, well, just come check out my group and we'll chat about it. And you constantly keep giving me the run of the mill. Fuck off, you know? Is that negative? No, I don't think so. Just fuck off. Like, it's not, I'm not directing negativity at you. I'm directing positivity at the ROI of my time and my energy, guys. You only have so much time and energy. If they're not going to reciprocate, if they're not going to fucking, give back to you, then move on. I have no problem burning the lead. I left the group because now you're just disrespectful. The guy that churned my group told, like, his offer for me to join his group was he was posting in Goosify. I'm not slandering him. This is literally the play-by-play on what actually happened. And it happens. I don't even care if it happens. In fact, it's going to happen. It will happen. Okay? You can't pretend like things like this are never going to happen. They're going to happen, And my response is, I don't really give a shit, man. He was posting these like little game card looking things with like magical powers, and I said, "Oh, that looks pretty cool." And then he said, "Do you want one?" And I said, "Yeah, sure." And then he messages me and says, "Well, join my group and I'll make one for you, but I don't actually usually make these cards for people unless they're level 3 in my group, but I'll make one for you if you join." And I was like, "Okay, now you're pitching me to join your group in exchange for like a cool looking little magical AI like playing card thing that would look cool." I did think it looked cool. I said, "That looks pretty cool." And he said, "Do you want one?" And I said, "Sure, yeah, sure, that would be cool." And then he said, "Okay, well, I'll make an AI game card of you," which has nothing to do with business, right? That's his magnet. That's his bait. A lead magnet is, I'll do something for you if you join my group. Okay, so that's your lead magnet. It doesn't have anything to do with breath work or anything. It's a men's group for breath work. And I'm like, "Yeah, fine." So I said, haha, okay. I said, haha, because it's like, you're offering me a free gift, but you're trying to get me to do something for it. So it's not exactly a free gift. "Do you want one? I'll make one for you." "Okay, yeah, sure. But you got to do something for me now." "Okay." So I said, haha. That's why I said haha. Haha in response to okay. Clearly that was just baiting me, you know. And I said, "Well, I also have a mastermind group, feel free to come check it out." Basically me saying, "Yeah, I'll join your group if you join my group." So he joins my group, and then I join his group. He never made me the card, by the way. All talk, no action, bro. That's probably why he left, because people like me trigger you. Like, spiritual people, some of them really do just like hate money. They hate money. They hate talking about money. They hate sales. They don't want to do sales. Bro, it's essential. If you want to be, you have to look at sales as self-respect. That's what I want this entire video to be about. Sales is self-respect. I respect myself, and I work so hard, and I help so many people out for free that I deserve to be compensated for my time and my energy. Sales is the ultimate form of self-respect. As a man, that is the ultimate form of self-love. To be valued with money is the highest form of respect you could give somebody. I respect you so much, and you're doing a lot of this for free, that I'm going to actually give you my hard-earned cash. You only have so much disposable income every month that I'm willing to give you some of my cash. That's love. That's real love. And when they actually give you their resources. Do you know what I'm saying? Sales is self-respect, bro. Sales is love. Okay? If they don't respect you and they're disrespecting you and they're leading you along, they're stringing you along, then fuck off. If a girl does that to me, like, I can tell if that's the kind of girl she is. If that's the kind of girl she is, then I'm just going to make them jealous. Okay, well then watch me go out on a date with this girl who's honestly even cuter than you or just about as cute as you, and you're going to get all pissed off. You know, most of the time people are controlled by jealousy and by leverage. Okay, this is not a manipulation tactic, this is human nature. Okay, well, if you were like, you know what I mean, like if you had an ex and then they're thinking about getting back together, and then the ex sees you with like another girl and she's like even prettier or even more young, or even more popular, and then all of a sudden the ex now wants you back like 10 times, 20 times more. Right now the ex is like, oh hell no, I'm not going to let this girl take you from me. That's the funny thing about human motivation. People oftentimes don't really act unless there's a threat or a loss. Like that's why I bought the Goosify cohort, because he literally said there's only one spot left, and the first person that takes it gets it. I was the very last person to join the cohort, and I'm thinking like, oh fuck, now that there's only one spot left, now I'm like, competitive, and I'm like, I meditated it and I was like, should I do this? And my intuition was like, yes, just do it. And I was like, all right. So I did it within 30 seconds of seeing that post. I gave him the $1,000. I was like, I don't want to miss out. FOMO motivates us so much more, you know. So, anyways, guys, it's called a pullback in sales. You offer it to them and then you pull it back. So you pull it back. I can tell that, this is probably just not a good time for you. It doesn't really seem like, you're ready to like really launch this thing. I said that to that girl that I left her group in a message, and she replied, yeah, I just need to get more stability first. Okay, whatever. But she keeps like leading me on, stringing me along like she's going to join my group. It's like, honey, I don't really care that much if you join my group or not. I'm not jumping down your throat to try to get money from you. Okay? Some people will book calls with you and then no show. Some people will book calls with you and then ghost you. And it's like, dude, you came to me. I didn't come to you. You came to me and you asked me to do a call with you. Then it's like, that's fine, but it's like, bro, I'm not desperate to do the call with you. Do you know what I mean? You have to have a sense of self-respect and self-worth. Like, I don't really care. Like, you know what I mean? Like, yes, I want the business, and yes, I would like to do the call because that would be a good number for me, because I want to hit my numbers and I want to do, 3 to 10 calls a day. Yeah, I want to do the call. I'd like to get the sale. I don't know if it's a collab call or if it's a coaching call. If it's a coaching call, then yes, I will pitch you my business. If it's a collab call, then then we're just chatting. But people who end up doing calls with me oftentimes do start wanting to get like, advice from me and coaching from me. And it's like, because I explained to you quite simply the math of how to generate calls and appointments and how to get leads. The math is you're going to go through like 1,000 posts a day. Oh my God, 1,000 posts a day. Just do 10 at a time. Just do 10 posts at a time. Do it on a computer. Use your mouse 3, the scrolling wheel. Click the mouse 3. It opens a new tab. Just open 10 tabs at a time. Okay. And then you're just going to have to do that 100 times. Okay. It's easier when you chunk it down. It's called chunking. Do 10 batches of 10 at a time. Then that's 100. And then you can take a little bit of a break or whatever, and then do another 100. Just do them in batches of 100, and then